So in the last video we modeled this head. I've gone and done a couple of tweaks to kind of like round out the face relative to this front projection here a little bit more. So it kind of looks right. There's still a couple of loose tweaks we can probably do to round it out a little bit more. I went in and added this closed loop before it went down here, so I rounded it out kind of similar to what's going on over here on the side, just to kind of get it closer. If you wanted, you could shape these eye parts more. One way I would suggest to separate them so you could pull them apart and maybe do a little more shaping is to select this face right here and separate it using a bevel, so that and then what you'd want to do is fix that bevel so now we can pull these apart. But like we've got this weird connection right here, we just need to merge at center so that that stays there. Probably merge this one up to here, keep the quad. Yeah, this will work. And then you could just do like merge these. You don't want to merge those actually, because you need that for the outline. So you'd want to merge like this one to here and this one to here. And then you've got this ingon up here. You could decide where you want the triangle to go. Just connect over. Connect vertex path. So now using this vertex slide mode, you can shift this stuff around to get the shape however you like. With an outline too, so you've got like this little border you can outline with. Pull this a little in. This one further. We are missing a quad here to here. For an outline. It's not 100% necessary, but I'm thinking of outlining these in black. So the other thing we did is when we created this duplicated hard edge here. We don't really need that, so we can dissolve or clear sharp. So let's say if we wanted to change the shape of these a little bit, you could just in a subdivision later do it, like subdivide with using a modifier, or you could go and model the detail into these. So like they have this kind of like arrow curve to them, which we've sort of got started in a very basic form. You know, like this. Let's see, we got a quad. Let's do like an edge to here. This can be shifted around quite a bit, so you pull it down and then pull it back. And then this can come down, this can go up and over. And then really what you can do to give you the ability to lift this up here with and make it follow the topology is just connect an edge to here. So connect vertex path. So now you can literally slide along that path to pull it up higher. down more. We'll end up doing some things to make these more extreme here in a sec, but so that kind of gives you that altered shape there. And then what you can do to add in extra vertices, right, is you can either subdivide these verts. So if you take and just select that vertex, use the bevel tool, and then pull on it. And usually it's set for edges, but instead do verts. And then slide this amount. Hold down Shift if you want to adjust in increments that are a little more controllable. If you wanted to subdivide it even more, you could do like that, so you create some extra points. Now the trick is we're adding a bunch of junk here, right? We can just take all three of these and merge them to that one at last. Fix our material here. Assign the purple or the pink. And now we've got some extra vertices here that we can slide along to create that rounded look a little bit more. Something like that. And we got an ingon here, but we could rely on triangulation. I know I've been a stickler about ingons to this point, but connect this. It's mainly one of those issues you're going to run into later on if you did like a bunch of subdivision. And because this is hard surface modeling, probably not going to do that. So if this was like organic soft modeling or something like that, we'd want to be a little more careful about it because these can cause lots of problems when you do subdivisions. But since we're hard modeling, it's all going to triangulate in the end anyway, so it's fine. But just be aware of the difference. When I say hard surface, I'm talking about mechanical, robotic, hard-edged things that don't have as much generic organic shapes. You saw when we did in the previous video, when we did this original sculpt to get this base shape and then topologized off of that, how many like tight vertex like nodes there were in the center of the, let me just go back and show that. In this guy, where is he? Up here. So if you looked at the, just the vertex nodes, no, not that one, because he's subdivided. Let me apply that. No, it's in the mirror. Maybe I already did. Oh, there's the multi-res. So if we just apply that and then looked at it in edit mode, you can see, or maybe you can't, all these little dense node clusters here, like this, and up here. Those are all points where triangles came to a, either we had a 5-point split or a 3-point. Like a 5-point looks like this. You can see right here, since there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see how that spreads out, whereas triangles condense and become like a triangle split. So I can't even see my mouse here. Right here, these three. You see where that causes geometry to condense, and there's no reason for it. Like everywhere there's like one of these like condensed nodes, you're just getting a bunch of triangular polygons that are clusters that are on smooth surfaces and don't really provide anything. So that's the problem that you get with triangles when you're doing, only when you're doing subdivisions later. And that's why organic modeling, it causes problems. Whereas these 5-point splits, when you're smart about the topology and you keep quads, they don't cause problems. They actually ease up on the topology. So that's the difference. It's not, we're modeling low poly now, so it's not a huge deal because we got plenty of polys to play with. This is literally our poly count, and you can compare the difference. So having some triangles here and there when you're at this low poly and you don't intend to come back later and apply, even if you do apply a subdivision, it's not going to kill it. It's just adding extra points where you don't need them. That's the lesson I want you to learn from that. So, again, just keep that in mind. One of the things you can do to fix it after the fact is, go and rethink your topology across these points. So, like, merge these. Now that we've created this curve, like, why not make it follow? Connect those. So you create some quads again, right? So like now we've got quad, dissolve this edge, and here dissolve. So now we've got quads going around. We've got a triangle here, but it can become a quad like that. This one can be a quad. Got one triangle here, which may or may not be necessary, depending on how you wanted to do it. You could like merge these two at center. Then you got this triangle here. And again, I said, like, don't worry about avoiding triangles too much, because technically, if we did do this as an outline around this shape, which is kind of what I'm going for, we can fill it with black. It's not going to kill you. We're so low poly, it doesn't matter. We got our general shape for the eyebrow that we wanted. It needs to curve a little bit more, like this way. And back that way some. But again, I'm just trying to keep you working smart, because here's the lesson to take from all of this is we're modeling low poly now. So yes, you can make some mistakes in terms of adding topology later. All of that stuff compounds later in the process if you wanted to add more detail. So working smart up front, and I run into this every day because my job is literally to optimize things like this. Working smart up front saves you a ton of time later. So you can kind of see where we've pulled out the shape here, and you can see under it. We're going to fix all that with this. We could literally pull, edit, double click on this edge loop, and just pull it back into another extrude, like any way you want to go, just a little back. And then make that a hard edge if we wanted, like an eyelid. We did lose a little bit of our shape here. We could probably shift our sphere a little bit to fix the way it sits in the eye. A little down and over. That's looking better. You can kind of see how shifting that just a little bit changes the whole outline of it. Here is our edit, our little point. You can see where it shows back here. You can just take that and pull it back, and that'll do it. So I'm going to go ahead and merge these, the triangle. You'll see me breaking the rules on layout for you all the time, just because, like, sometimes you just got, rules are meant to be broken. And like I said, I don't think we're going to end up doing a lot of subdivision on this. I mean, when I say that, here's what I mean. Subdivision, just take this, add a modifier, generate subdivision surface. You can see what that does in terms of the shape, where it causes it to smooth out and do some weird things. Okay. What you're doing is you're adding more vertices to the, I don't know if you can see that. Let me show you this way. Let's turn our, it's adding more vertices to this. It's called a cat mole rom subdivision. It's adding more vertices to it. And so it smooths out things that are not smooth. You can see where my shape is causing a problem here. Right here, if I go into edit mode and select the right thing for edit mode, there we go, edit mode, where it's overlapped like this, and it caused a crease like that. Just pull that back and fix it. It's not a huge deal. It's something we can snap and edit fix later. Right now, it's like we probably just need to select the entire center line verts and then scale them to the center to fix. But you can see where these cat mole rob subdivisions cause issues with our creases and stuff that we've set up in ways that we won't like, right? So that's why if you're doing hard edge surface modeling, why would you do that? You know, there's things to work around fixing it. They're a little more advanced. I don't want to get into that for this. I just want to show you how to do the kind of model you want to do and leave it at that. So I'm going to go and be pretty loosey-goosey about rules that I'm trying to explain that you're going to want to, you'll learn later on too. Let's dissolve this. Keep that quad. So we got one loop here. We want to get a little more curve on this one so we get that same out shape. So we can just take that again, go to bevel, start it, it does an edge. There's your vertex, and then hold down shift and slide this width to get the right count, and then change your segment count to one more. Take your points that are junk here and merge them back up to here. At last, fix our face, go to material over here and apply or assign the blue. Now you can start to think about, okay, so like we got this hard edge here, we've got 3 points here. We want to actually do a little bit better. So maybe what we could do is connect across like this. And then that one's fine. And maybe, because that gives us the ability then to slide that one. We could slide that one up a little bit. Like here, and then we could connect to this one. Now we've got merged these two at last. We got some quads in there, dissolve, and a triangle there. Although we can lose this, now we need that one for the edge. Just thinking here. So yeah, what we could do is go like to here, connect this. It gives us an extra point there to work with. So we can pull this back down. There's we can pull this, connect that just so we can pull it up a little bit higher. And that gives us the ability to pull that one a little bit higher. This one down a little bit. Just trying to round it out in the same way. It's not too bad. Maybe run this one across like we did the other. Connect. This ability to round it out just a little bit more there. Let's go ahead and merge these two. All right, so there's our eyebrows, similar way or similar fashion to what we had in this drawing up here. We could add curves along this interior too. So like if we wanted to round it out, because there's kind of this rounded inside corner here, you could just subdivide that and maybe do like 2 subdivisions so you get 2 points. Subdivide 2. And then if you look at the verts, you've got these verts here. You could, they're not connected, so let's connect them so we can slide them around. Let's do this one to this one. And probably connect across to here, to there. So I'm kind of setting up this grid system that I can edit to. Put one to there. Just do the same thing going over to here. You'll see why I'm insisting on this type of grid layout in a second. Basically, by adding these like spider, you're creating webs we can slide, sort of. That's the way I like to think about these meshes, is like they're kind of like setting up a web of points. So now with those lines, I can just slide in 4 different directions to position them perfectly. But by doing that connection where I'm connecting the verts, I'm sliding them relative to the normal, so I'm not pulling them off of the curve that I already have set up. Probably want to connect here. And then, so you see where there's this like indentation right here across the surface, you could kind of pull that up a little bit if you wanted, just to round it a little bit more. And then go back to vert slide and create that inner curve on what's going to become the outline there. So let's pull these in. And then these. All right, let's go ahead and apply that material. Select around, select these edges. Apply our dark outline. If you hold down Control and Shift, it'll select as much as it can, it'll select the connecting faces. Let's see what that looks like. It's a little thick here. Let's see, there's probably, I want to, wow, something's going on there. So when I select this face, it shouldn't select that entire face because there's actually an edge loop there. So something's not right. Dissolve that. Can't dissolve it. There's a bad geometry. We can delete the edge. There we go. So now connect from here to here. And that should fix it. Let's see if I can select. Yeah, so now I can select this face. So we accidentally created some bad geometry where we linked an edge across. There's ways to clean that up. It's not the end of the world if that happens, unless you're going into game engines. It'll probably just delete it or do something weird, cause some like weird face fighting issues, but just something to be aware of. All right, so these tend to have like a thinner outline, so I'm just going to thicken this up a little bit by sliding these verts. Pull it up in. And then same thing here. Really thick along this outer edge over here. looks better. Let's look at it. Lose our wireframe if you go up here under the viewport overlays and just double check off the wireframe. Yeah, that looks better. It's not, it's like they're pointing the wrong direction. This one less so than this one. It's weird. It's like they go, this should go up more. Yep, like that, and then over, up. Yeah, something like that. And then that gives room for this one to come way over here. I'm thinking maybe like instead of connecting this way, connect this way so I can pull it a little bit out. So connect those vertices. You'll see where this happens. It's okay. But it just lets us kind of open it up a little bit more that way. Maybe even like merge to there. Yeah. And then pull out the outer shape that you want. Make the inner shape fit it. Go wide this way. So then move these over. Pull that in a little bit more. And this one in. So what I'm seeing now is that I need to separate this eyebrow from the corner that I've got going on here. And all you got to do that, just get this up here out of the way. We need to connect like here to here. Connect those vertices so you can see now where we've got a point here, which we can fix in a sec. And then this point, so we can merge this one to here. And now we've got a quad that separate gives us a gap here to work with. So we can move this up more to pull it away a little. I think I probably need to connect it there. And pull this, merge this to that. Just to kind of give us a little more directional pull that way. Let's go ahead and fix our material on this one. Assign the pink. And then probably just merge this back to there. And or here, let's do this, merge vertices at this one, yeah. And then pull that up. And that way our eyebrows sit off of this edge that we've created. That'll be a hard edge. Could still use some more upward movement this way. Just looking at the reference like that. Kind of comes up, this one goes up more. And then this, I think this one needs to have some pull this direction. So connect from here to here. And then connect from here to here. And then that way you can pull it in that direction to go a little bit under the other. So if we merge these two, pull it down. curve in more. This can come down to here, connect, so we can pull this down. Yeah, like that. And then we've got this quad set up, so we might as well just figure out how to connect that. Merge vertices at this one. Dissolve that. So there's our quad. Yeah, it's better. So just to kind of show you how you can use these need some work, but get the idea. Probably connect because I need to be able to pull this way. Connect there to there. And then merge vertices there. This allows me to pull that a little bit that way. This that way. Getting there. All right, enough of that. Let's start working on the body. Okay, so for the body, there's because it's hard modeling, we can either keep connecting, which doesn't make a ton of sense because it looks like this neck sort of inserts into this casing, like there's an under metallic part with these plastic cases on top, or plastic panels on top, I guess is a good way to put it. So we might as well just model them separate, which is fine. We can do that. So, one other thing I wanted to show you was with this yellow material for the eyebrows, I kind of interpret those as maybe being lights. So if we select this face and then go into this material, we can go under, let's make them more yellow. Go under emission, and if you click on this color, you're going to get this color panel, and you can try to remember all these values, but there's a nice little quick shortcut that gives you just a simple code to get the exact same color. Just go to the hex value and copy this code, a hexadecimal representation of that color. Then go down here to the emission color and just paste it, and you get the same color for the emission. And then you can crank up, so like point, just make it 1, and now that glows. So what that means when I say that glows is if we turn on lighting and scene world, you'll see where up here where I made the blue glow, it's brighter, and even in the dark, it will emit light. And if you really wanted to make it glow, you could crank it up even more like a light. You could do the same thing. I'm imagining the eyes probably glow. So if we do new, call this glowing eyes, they probably have a bit of an emission to them. We could crank the roughness down to make them nice and shiny. You see how there's like a speck here where the light comes in. And they also could reflect the environment. So if we have an environment, we don't have one connected as an environment to reflect, I'm going to put one in there just to show you how that works. So if you go into shading, I think I might have done this in the previous video, and we want to see, you can kind of see here where it's showing this reflected this environment. If you change that, it'll reflect the room, whatever. These aren't real. They don't actually add to the lighting. They're just for reference in in modeling. They changed the lighting a little bit and stuff. You don't get in Eevee. You get the ability to render them, but they're not providing actual lighting. If you wanted to provide an environment and actual lighting and reflection at the same time, you've got to go into this shading mode and go to object instead of object. Go to world, add a under add texture, environment texture, connect that up. And then you need what's called an equirectangular texture. And I have a lot on my machine, but so it would be under here. Where are they? Global textures. And I've got these environment HDRs. You can look at them. They're equirectangular, so I like sunsets a lot because of the angularity and the color of the lighting. So the low angle lighting, I guess, is a good way to put it. The skies on fire is one of my favorites, so I'll put that in there. Leave it at that, and then if you look at it with scene and lights, suddenly we have this environment around our model, and you can see that environment reflected in the materials. So like in this metal, we have a kind of low reflective rough aluminum kind of metal, like pebbled. Go to materials, you select your metal. You can go here under roughness and crank that down and get a super reflective metal like chrome. So it just kind of depends on what you want, but like that's what you need for getting the final render effect, I guess, is you need this equirectangular environment to reflect whatever it is. And usually it's an HDR because they have more lighting kind of baked into them, so they actually provide lighting in the rendering algorithm. I won't go into the details of that, but it helps if they're HDR. They look a little muddy if they're not. You can still use them if you want. But anyway, that's how you kind of control that. So I kind of like a little rough metal, so it's kind of like aluminum, but it still looks metallic. You can see where we've gone and we've made these eyes. If we go back to the object shader, we've made the eyes white and they're kind of plasticky. If you wanted to make them metal, you could crank it up. But if you do white and metal, it's like making a mirror, essentially. It's kind of what you've got. That doesn't look like him. So what you can do, though, is you take that white, go down to emission, and just crank up the strength to like 1 or maybe 0.5. So it's like 0.5 would be like it's transparent. There's a light source inside of the plastic. So let me show you what that would look like if we go back to our world here. And for this image that's doing all of the lighting right now, if we crank the strength down to like 0.1, you get a little bit of the light, but you can see where it's sort of his eyes still glow. And they still have a bit of that plastic sheen. If you make them fully glow, you're going to lose. They're going to be all white and they won't show any kind of like specular highlight. So it's just a way to control the surface effect. Maybe we want the pink plastic to be a little less rough surface. So you can go and you can crank that down till you get the sheen that you want for that. It could be metallic, perhaps, which kind of looks nice. Let me crank my value for the world up. So there he is with like a fully metallic face plate, glowing lights for his eyebrows. If you wanted to pull those out or inset them, it's pretty easy to do. So if we go edit, an easy way to select, since just those are colored with this material right here, is just use the material and then select and it'll select just the faces that have that. And then you can go into layout. We're in edit mode automatically. And you can extrude. Let's do extrude along normals and pull those in to make them kind of like inset lights inside of the cowl or his face or whatever you want to call it, so that they kind of hide from an angle and then they're revealed when you look at them straight on. All right, I'm going to leave them like this because I kind of like the look of it. Let's go to, yeah, we're in layout. Let's do the body. So let's save. A quick way to do the body is to break it down by the faces or the planes that it exists, that it has. So you can see where we kind of almost have the start of a square here that we could build off of, and then these are sort of like rounded cylinders and stuff. So let's do the square for the torso. We'll figure it out from there. So let's add a mesh cube. It's going to be too big. Scale it down. Get it in the right position, roughly. Doesn't have to be perfect yet. All right. So it's centered. I'm going to get it to the right scale. And then figure out from there, what does it look like? I don't really have a side view of his body, I don't think. Let's see. Select our verts and pull them out wide. Just to see. Nope, no side view of the body, so we'll have to kind of guess. Let's make it fairly narrow, and we can extrude from there. So like that'll be the width a little bit. Oops. And I'm scaling here. Once we get the scale roughly to where we want it, maybe a little shorter. I'm just doing this top part here for the torso, upper torso. Yeah, once we get it to roughly where we want it, apply object, apply scale. The reason we do that is I'll unapply that scale to show you what happens if I go and let's say apply, like select all these edges, and I want to apply a bevel to them. You see how it scales disproportionate, like it's more of a bevel across the top and the side. It's kind of hard to tell on this, but it's not the same kind of bevel. That's because it's beveling based on the scale. If we go out and we apply the scale now, and then go back in and edit and bevel now, the bevel is relative and equal across the entire surface, okay? So that gives us the ability then to just do that bevel, pull this out. Let's put a center line in this thing so we can work across it that way. Remember we were, and we'll put one across the side here. Maybe even one across this side. That way. All right, so we can take that, using that center line. If we want to pull out shape or whatever, we can go to edit mode and select by face, go into X-ray, select 1/2 of the faces and delete, because we're going to do our mirror trick again. So apply, under modifier, add, generate mirror. Now we've got our mirror back. So now what we can do is if we take, edit, like this back face here, maybe these, and pull them up. Maybe a little back. Can do these edges. We want to thicken along the outer edge here. Pull that wide. Maybe this down. Do this forward. Give it a little roundness. Same on the back, but maybe higher. Do the same with the verts. So you can see where we're getting this rounded shape here. So we can pull this one in, this one in, this one. And then maybe up and down to round that. Same on the, well, on this one we could go back up like that because we're kind of, human rib cage kind of has this weird lopsided look. He's not human, but you get the idea. It's like the back kind of raises up and even goes in a little bit. Yeah, that'll work. Kind of just making this up as I go here. There's that. All right. Maybe pull this forward so it encapsulates his neck area. This thing too. This can go up. Thinking this too. So like, let's say that's our torso, very rough. Let's go and do some subdivision on it and see how it looks. We'll get the shape we want in a sec. Go back out, subdivide, add modifier, generate subdivision surface. And let's right click, see shade smooth, auto shade. Let's apply our pink metallic to it. So now you're starting to see what I'm referring to here in terms of getting a general shape with the subdivision applied. If we edit, what you can do to get these hard edges is figure out where you want them. So maybe this goes wide. This one comes in. Yeah. Figure out where you want the edges. Select those faces. Oops. And the edge itself. We're going to extrude, or we're going to pull out some bevels on them. So, like, yeah, here to here to here. Let's do this, just this for now. So you select your bevel tool here and create just a very slight bevel, and you'll see what it's done, where it's created this hard edge kind of look, kind of similar to what's going on here. Okay. If you want to do the same by pulling in, like if you want to pull like an armhole, we can do these two faces and inset. Move it up, pull it out a little bit. Maybe not so inset, like that. Fix the straightness of this. I'm just going to scale it straight. And then maybe take this shoulder and raise it. maybe grab these two panels and pull them that way, and then this one, this could come forward a little bit. And then this point can come down. Same thing here. Pull these back. Yeah, let's try that. What we'll do is we'll make another inset. Instead of doing a bevel, we'll make another inset that's really tight to create that hard edge, just barely. And then another one that's a little looser, and then another one that's tight, and pull that in with a lot to create this kind of hole where his body can come to. And if you wanted to pull out another, you could pull it out a little bit more for the arm. You could pull that, do another inset, and then I'd extrude to pull out this way. Scale that in a little bit for roundness, like it's some sort of motor head inside the arm. Show you what that looks like. So you've got this rounded kind of connecting joint, and then from there you can just go and pull the parts. Like if you grab some if you want to round it out more, just select one of these points, and then with our proportional editing turned on, scale it up so it affects more, and then just get the shape you want. And you can see where it's doing it. I'm editing it and manipulating it, and it's showing it in the subdivided part. Let's pull this shoulder out like that. Maybe up. This one can come up a little. And out. The back can come out a lot. Maybe pull this part in to give it kind of a tapered look. If you wanted to add some hard edge loops along the back like this, maybe across here, you could just select those and do our bevel trick again, slightly. Let's see what that looks like. So you get that kind of square back. If you want to insert like a hard edge, just right down the middle, edit, select, had the wrong thing selected. Let me turn off being able to select our references. Actually, I've been doing that a lot. So I hit edit and select, not the entire edge loop, but like from here to here. Maybe not even that part, just this part, and then pull that in and right click and make sharp. See what that looks like. You see where that creates this hard edged sharp part in there. It's not perfect. If you wanted to create more of a seam there, you could insert, let's just double click across all of these. Got a whole edge loop here. We can insert an edge loop like this, pull that in, and then grab these back parts and pull them out. There and there. And this one. And then pull a bevel off that. And then pull that a little bit further. Let's turn off our proportional editing for a sec. Pull that back. Let's connect these. Merge, sorry. merge verts at last, just to kind of fix that in there. Let's see what that looks like. So now we've created this kind of center spine connection on the back. So edit, we can pull these. Let's do the center part here. A little wider. A little wider. Move this up and over or in. Like that. We could connect these two in the center, merge vertices at the center. It's looking pretty good. Let's talk about how to pull out this lower part of the body, the torso. I think I want to make these a little bit more forward. Yeah. Maybe this one. Let's turn on our proportional editing and pull that out. All right. Let's make a, I'm noticing it's really flat up here on the front, so let's take these, pull them forward. And then we'll make a hole in the bottom of the torso using just these faces. And these. So what you want to do here is same thing we did with the arms. Do an inset. But you see where it insets relative and leaves this kind of place in the center. We'll fix that in a second. Actually, let's go ahead and fix it now. So you want to delete these faces. Anything that's like the inside of this, delete it. And that leaves a hole there. Pull these back over. Oops. Turn off proportional editing. There we go. Let's fix this. It's a little extreme. And then taking our faces that we extruded here, we've got like a slight vertice there we can join, merge those two. Turn off our X-ray here and just select these faces. There we go. Could probably join these up too. We don't need them. And these, just to make it simpler. That will keep. We can probably keep, like we can do these just to sharpen the edge here. Yeah, let's do that. Make a bevel. It's going to create some chaos here. We'll just join it up. Merge vertices at center. That way we get our, to be honest, those could probably, should they stay separate? Let's see. Let's pull this forward. And we'll keep them like that. All right, so select, part we want to pull into the interior. Let's look at our model here a sec. Yeah, that'll work. And then extrude, normal, inside. Just pull it way up there. So you're going to see what happens here where it creates this interior face because we're creating extruded faces in the interior. So all you got to do to fix that is select those faces. There should be 3 of them. Delete. And we're going to need to reconnect our points. Make sure. Because I did it based on normals, it extruded in the wrong direction. I should have done it just X, Y, Z. So turn on our, gotta fix this. So global, yeah, pull that across until it separates. Bring it back. There we go. So there's the interior part of the torso. If we wanted to harden this corner or this edge or do something to it, like we can select that edge loop. Oops, make sure you're selecting the right parts. And scale it a little bit. And then harden it so mark sharp. Maybe fix our points. It's back. And then select our faces on this interior part. Whoops, just those. Let's go ahead and apply a material to them. Let's turn off our X-ray so we can just select, select those faces there. Let's go ahead and add that second material, which is our metal, gray metal, and assign it. So it's assigned there. We'll assign it to the arm part there. Might need some more faces for there. There we go. So you can see that we've got like these interior parts showing now. Edit. If you want more of a hard edge, you can select the edges you want to harden and make them hard. So mark sharp. And then maybe like mark sharp. See what that looks like. It's subtle, but you can see where it does it. I don't really like it because it doesn't look right. So I'm going to undo all that. Oops, got some holes here in the top. Need to pull them together. Oh, we need to do the neck spot too. So select faces. We're going to do this, have the same issue that we did with the neck, the head, and we'll pull this up a little bit. And then insets. And you can see where we have that same issue where it's like suddenly we have this hole For this, I'm going to hide the head just for a second so we can delete these faces. And then pull them back across to close that hole. Select. And then maybe do another inset because I want to create kind of a rounded neck hole. So another one. And we'll do that rounded in a second. Actually, let's round it out now. So loop tool, circle, scale that in. Whoops, I accidentally scaled it with an inset. You just want to go to select and then scale. See where it's rotated all kinds of wrong. Rotate it back to get it roughly in the right place. And then you see our faces we need to lose are these. And then we need to close, like move these points back to center and get our circle fixed. The hole that we're trying to make to pull the neck down into. You can see where it messes up our circle a little bit, but it's like we've got the rough idea of a circle. Yeah, that'll work. This can come forward. We can fix this edge once we go and extrude more. So let's take these and then extrude. Actually, we'll make a loop, an inset. I don't want to do an inset. I want to do an extrude. This inset and extrude are almost the same thing. You can just basically just extrude a tiny bit, and then that'll create the same effect as inset. And it does the same thing on these interior faces. You want to delete those. And then select your faces again and pull those down. Extrude them down a lot. Same thing with these interior faces. Delete again. And we'll have to keep leaving it set on extrude along normals, which is messing up. That's all right. More editing to explain then. Close that. Select that face, close that, and this one. There's a face there, and this one. So you see where I made, when I did that slide extrude, I created kind of another hard edge to work with across the top here. Get this right. Something's weird here in terms of the break that's going on. See what I mean there with that? Not sure what it is, but that. So you can see where we're creating the start of a neck hole. Let's pull this back. Pull this back. Well, I'm trying to select these points. Let's see what our head looks like inside of that now. All right, so yeah, you want to just sort of rough out. Turn off the head again. Select, get this wide enough. that you can fit the neck inside. And then we'll pull it in tighter to make it fit better. Oh, I see what's going on there. That's interior. Instead of pulled out, it was inverted. All right. Maybe take these down a notch. Since they're a lot higher. All right, that'll sort of work for now. Something's right there. I don't know exactly. There we go. Pull that out. That'll work. Turn our head back on and see how it fits. It's not bad. Just got to select these points and pull them out until we get it pretty tight around this the neck part. I'm just selecting them all here, pulling them in now until it fits close. We'll fix this one in a sec. Let's turn on our X-ray so we can select through. This one could come back. Maybe pull this one in. There we go. Get it. So you can see how we can sort of form the armor or the body around the parts. To fit. All right, let's look at that. Not bad. I could do better, but for now, it's good enough. Let's pull the body out down here. The lower part of the torso. Let's select our faces, turn off X-ray mode so we can just drag select these. Oops, face. Like that. And then we'll do an extrude. I'm still in X-ray or extrude along normal. So let's do just straight extrude region and leave it set up here instead of normal XYZ. And then we get this and we can just pull it down. And I'm just going to pull it wide and then pull one more just to make it sharp down here at the bottom instead of rounded. And then we could select all of those points and flat. Whoops. Hit R and flatten. Had my X-ray turned off. Turn it back on. Select all those points. Flatten. You can see where we've got some interior faces here. Same thing we've had before where we had to delete them like that. Just go and select them and delete. Now we've flattened it here so it's causing this weird penetration or pinching like this because they're right on top of each other. Basically, we don't need these interior faces, so I can just delete those. The extruded here, delete those. That's what's causing the pinching. can select these outer faces and pull them up a little bit. Same thing. Let's go ahead and put a material on all of this. Our gray metal, the sign. So there's the kind of body part. And we could do the inverse and create the lower part of the torso if we want. Or we can make it separate like we did this, starting at the top. But what I want to show you real quick is a nice way to create these segments in the body. And the same thing I did on the neck. So what we want to do is go loop cut right here and just do it in the middle. Just one for now. And flatten that so it's straight. Kind of get it in the middle here. And then what you want to do is bevel it. So I just went to the bevel tool, pull that, and get it spread out to however many rings you want, just the outer parts of the rings. Like that. And then if you want, you can insert a segment and it will spread those segments how you like in the along the edge here. And you can shift them up like that. And then you can select those edge loops for each one of those segments and do a bevel on those. That. Assign new material, and we'll do the black. And if you want, remember we're doing a subdivision here, so it's doing extra polys on the outside that you may or may not want. So if you wanted to tighten that in, so if you do a tighten this way, it's going to scale everything, right? If you do edit individual origins up here, this little transform pivot point, if you pull that and then set it to individual origins, each one of these will have their own individual origins, so that as we scale, we can scale them tight that way. Okay. Because we're doing this subdivision, we only have a certain amount of control. We'll fix that in a sec. But leave it the way it was for now. I just wanted to show you that. And then do, let's go back to extrude along normals. Instead of extruding out, let's extrude in. That. And we'll fix the hardened edges here in a sec. The thing we just did though, remember, it's always inserting these interior faces that we don't want. So if we select by face, go to the straight on view and just select these interior points, you see all those extruded faces we don't want, we can just delete those so that it rounds out going around the corners. And now we can double click select all of these edges and then harden, mark sharp. Find the one up here. Now, we created these hard edges for our look, but remember we're doing a subdivision, so you're getting a duplicated hard edge. So what you can do is to fix that, if you don't like this super soft rounded torso look, maybe you do, maybe you don't, I don't know. If you want to fix that or have control over it, you can go to edit and you can insert edge loops in the center and then do a bevel and pull those, and it will push that smoothness up to basically where we want it, right there at the very crisp edge, even beyond if you want, but but really you just want to go to like right up, butt it up against it like that. And it forces a crisp hard edge that way. And you can do the same thing with the interior if you wanted. Like insert here and do a bevel right up to the edge. And you can see where it creates this hardened corner instead of this rounded edge that you have here, right? So you get more of a kind of Dr. Octopus type of arm. And you have to do that across all of these if you want it. So, and because we're working low poly, it's fine. It's so bevel. Same thing up here. Same thing. Get your angle looking up to get the right spot. There we go. And then bevel. We can do this interior one. Hit it right. Bevel. I don't think I did. Yeah, I did. Did one there, did one there. I did one on this bottom one. You can see the little edge loops, but I gotta do this one. And we'll do the bottom one too. Ooh, got some weirdness there. That's because of the shape. What you can do instead then is just edge slide up to the corner and then do another edge and slide that one down to this one, assuming you even want to. We'll leave it like that. Let's do this center edge and this little last piece of plastic just to get that crisp. Hold down shift to control it a little bit. And then you get these. So now it's nice and kind of crisp on the body. If you want to, we'll leave it like that for now in terms of the I like that kind of look, really. It looks simple enough. One thing we didn't talk about is these wires on the back of the head. We can add those now based on some of the stuff that we just did. Let's do that. So we got this mirrored head. There's two ways we could do it. We could add it as a part, a secondary part like we did the torso here, or we can go and just model it into the head. So if we did the modeling it into the head part, what we could do is our little circular round trick. Now the problem with that is it doesn't do a half circle, it only does a whole circle. We have to kind of manually create the hole But with enough faces, we can do that. So it's not that much extra effort to do it this way. I guess the question is just how big do you want that hole to be? So we're going to do it from these. Notice I selected a lot of faces, which gives me a lot of edges to make that circular look. So now we want to go through the process one more time. We'll do an inset. And we're going to lose these faces. That'll make our hole. And then pull these points back over to the center to close it. And then take all of these other points. We could either round them out ourselves or do the circle thing. I'm going to do the circle thing. Loop tools, circle. So you see how it makes it, it's not perfect, right? So like, but it's close enough because what we can do is if we rotate and then shift it to the center, because technically the center would be, you know, you can see where this is a center point. So we just want to be slightly offset and then scale it up to get it lined up. Scale it up a little bit more and pull it over. And then just shift these points back to get them right. Okay, these are going to be interior points because they were inside, but they can still be rounded out and follow our topology the way we want them to. Same thing here. Pull this a little. We can pull these down some because they'll be kind of rounded too, which lets us pull these down a little. Let's turn off our X-ray mode so we can see it better. Slow wide. So you can see when we did that, it messed with our corners. We just need to grab these and pull them out to be in line and just sort of shift it to get it flat again. It may be, well, these aren't horrible. Center there. I'm just looking at the smoothness from all angles to get it back to kind of where it was as a circle across the surface. This kind of goes in a bit much. Just to these. All right, that's probably good enough for now. So now we can make our hole in the head. Select our faces. They're not completely round, so we can keep working that. Let's do it with edge or vertex slide, because I like that a little bit better. Especially since we've already fixed the the smoothness across the top a little bit. This one can, or actually this one can come out a little. I think maybe pull these down with their vertex slide. And then I can pull these down a little bit to get more of a half rounded circle. These can come up. It's looking better. These can be pulled out a little bit. All right, let's do that. What I'm gonna do is select, whoops, edges, just those. And I wanna make my walls, or the interior exterior walls, but I'm just gonna extrude out from like faces that way. So I'll do a bevel here, like that. And then with that selected, pull out, extrude, not by normals, just extrude with the XYZ going backwards. We'll flatten it a little bit. And then we'll figure out the interior part here. So let's pull, oops, select these faces, scale them a little bit in. It's going to separate and make a hole there. Pull them in tight again. That kind of created an offset. We'll do it a little bit more actually. And then do it again. And then pull that back into the head. We can flatten that completely on the Y. Since it doesn't matter anymore. And then maybe take this outer edge and scale it a little bit and pull it in, get it back, maybe scale it vertical. So what you want here is you can either do a hard edge, or if you want to do the bevel trick like we did on the torso, do that. I'm going to do the bevel trick to create that kind of hard edged corner. Maybe even do hard edge on this one just to create the breaking of the normal. So mark sharp. That way it looks sharp. In fact, you could then take this and pull it in to create that even kind of an inset joint. Let me show you what that looks like. So you get that hard edge that way. Yeah, and then you can take this into the brain as much as you want. If you wanted to make a hole here, you could delete these faces and put something inside. What I'm going to do is select this, do another extrude in, which means we'll have to delete these faces. Oops. So select them. Delete. Select these, scale them wide. Oops. Scale them wide, and then pull them so that the hole's not there, and then maybe pull them in a little bit. All I'm trying to do here is create kind of an interior kind of false surface that I can put a different material on. So I'm going to put like the black on there, assign, and then I'm going to select this edge right here and mark for sharp. Probably pull it in a little bit tighter so you don't see those. Maybe we'll take that, select these faces and make them black 2, just to further hide the fake part. All right, so maybe for this metal on this wall here and here and here, we'll assign the gray. I thought I hadn't yet, but I did. Yeah, that looks good. So now how to do these wires coming off the where he's disconnected. It's actually pretty easy. Let me save. Just thinking about it. All right, so what you want to do for wires is add mesh, not mesh, curve, Bezier. And that's going to create this little odd curvy thing that you can edit. So it's like if you grab these points, you can make whatever kind of curve you want. You can select 2 points and subdivide here, which will create a new point that lets you move and edit that curve. So what you then want to do is take that first point of the curve, turn on snap to face, and literally just snap it to the backside of 5 Pebbles head here, and then select the handlebars. I'm doing it by individual. Let's do it by median. There we go. So we get our selections on the actual handles here. And we can pull them. Whoops. Still got snap to face turned on. Turn that off so we can get our easier editing basically. So what I'm doing is I'm using this as a guide for scale those in. They're kind of small. And then so this could actually become a long wire if you wanted it to, with as many control points as you wanted. I'll show you how we'll make it into a wire here in a sec. Let's do a relatively long one here. All right, so with that point selected, let's get it lined up. So you can see where if you go too far out on these, depending on the scale, they can get these weird edges to the curve. So you kind of want to have them sort of scaled relative to, let's do like that, relative to the scale of whatever your spline's going to end up being. That's what these are. They're like splines. This in. All right, let's make this into a wire. So all you got to do that is object, select it. You got your curve. Let's set origin to geometry. So that'll put it where we've gotten it scaled to. And then down here under the properties, you're going to see, instead of like a mesh option or that little triangular vertex, you see this spline curve option. You select that, go under geometry, and there's going to be this extrude. You can hold down shift and just give it like a little bit of an extrude, and that'll make it have like a planar face. Or if you don't want to do the extrude creates kind of like a plane that travels across it. If you don't want to do that and you want to do more of a 3D wiry shape, you can bevel it here. There's this bevel with round, and then you just give it a depth. So you can hold down shift to get it to what you want, like that. And you can see it's just extruding a tube around this spline. And then you can fill it with caps if you want to have a cap on it. Now the thing to realize here, it's creating a ton of geometry when it's doing this, depending on how you've set up the spline. That's actually not too bad, but the point is to realize like you can control how much geometry gets created with this resolution up here. So there's this, notice I can crank the resolution, what's it called? Preview U. And that'll create less geometry that way or more. So you can do that. And then you can do this preview on the other one, this render. And that's how much we'll actually render. So you can have it be low res in the render, or low res in the geometry when you're looking at it in the viewport, and then render at a higher res if you want. Setting it to 0 just means it's going to use this top section. And you can go down here under the round part for the resolution. If you need more edges rounded that way, you can crank it up. So you can do less or more. I'm going to leave it at 2 because you don't need much. You can see how that looks sort of smooth when we're really zoomed in on it there, and it looks even like a little less. Maybe we want to make it like a little bit wider. Let's make it like 2. There we go. Let's apply material to it. So he's got red and blue wires. Let's do new, make a red wire. Let's take the roughness down. So there's our red plastic wire coming out of his head. Let's just duplicate that. Duplicate the object here. Move it up. Then we can go in and edit and just shift the points around. We could even twist these to make them braided if we wanted to. And change the curve however we like. And if we wanted to make a blue material, we can take this red, let's call it red wire, and click on this little new material here, add new material. When you click on this with that selected, it will make a copy. So it's red wire 0.01. We can change that to blue wire and then change our color. And now we got a blue wire. And then we can just duplicate these and edit them however we like. And make them longer if we wanted. Another blue. Kind of like that. All right, that's good enough for now. So you get the wires coming out of the back of the head. All right, save it. And that's probably enough for now. I think you get the gist. You could take these same techniques and make the arms. I'll probably do a time lapse for the rest of it, showing how I go about making like hands and stuff like that. But this will get you a little bit further into making the body to show you where you need to go from there. All right.